coming real close. We believe that this is a time for the Lokayukta now to crack down on any corrupt activities. Along with the IT department as well, it's raining raids across the state of Karnataka. In fact, what we hear is that IT officials have raided former Minister Gangadhar Gowda's residence in Mangaluru. At least 20 officials were present at that raid where they reached the Congress leader's residence. IT officers raided 3 of his houses right from the start of the day. Meanwhile, Karnataka's anti-corruption watchdog, on the other hand, Lokayukta, who's been on overdrive, is now carrying out raids at multiple locations, including Bengaluru, Bidar, Shivamogga and Bellary. Now, the officer of Town Planning Department of the BBMP Yelanka zone, Gangadhar Ayya's Bengaluru residence was also raided, and this raid comes in light of disproportionate assets allegations that have been leveled against him. Cash and other items were recovered during the raids. Lokayukta have also carried out raids at 6 different locations in Bidar, including Deputy Tahsildar Vijay Kumar's residence and offices. All right, now I have with me KV Dhananjay, who is a Supreme Court advocate, very keenly watching the Karnataka Assembly elections and the updates here. Mr. Dhananjay, thank you for joining us in short notice here. But I'd like to ask you, well, we see the Lokayukta and the IT raids happening in full swing just 2 weeks before elections. What is the kind of statement that does this send out? Is it intolerance to any kind of corrupt activities ahead of elections? Because we know that money can be hoarded right in time.
Well, the Lokayukta keeps the raiding people. Nobody remembers what were the raids that were done last month or the month before that. So it may not have much of an impact unless and until the Lokayukta, given the fact that it possesses vast powers, would go after someone in power, someone with an opportunity to make, to indulge in more corruption. We've heard about the 40% corruption. So perhaps the Lokayukta could have gone and raided some minister because, it's only then that people would think that the Lokayukta is being serious about, fighting corruption. You go after a BBMP officer, that's done all the time. And, people are going to feel like, okay, what about, going after a Tahsildar, going after a revenue officer or a BBMP? That's really not sending out a statement against corruption. And this does not have to do with BJP government or the Congress government or the JDS government. It's a fact that, opportunity in power gives you an opportunity to indulge in corruption. So perhaps a Lokayukta could have gone, and done something about some sitting MLA, some sitting minister.
So you're saying an ex-minister of the Congress raiding him, and they managed to access something. Really, that's the IT raids, basically.
That's the IT raid. Now that will be less about. That's nothing. That won't be about corruption. That will be about someone not declaring his assets or someone not paying the taxes to the IT department. So that the IT department essentially can't send out a signal that it's fighting corruption at all. And well, I think people are not going to register these things because I think now it's so too common an occurrence. Every month you have a raid and every month someone or the other gets raided. And if these raids were meant to have a deterrent effect, the fact that every month you conduct more raids tells us that these raids are not having any deterrent effect. Now let's take the case of this BBMP officer. This raid would be effective if over the next 12 months we will see fewer raids on BBMP officers, but that's rarely the case. Perhaps next month or a month after that, the Lokayukta will be raiding a dozen more BBMP officers. So nobody seems to be scared of these raids.
You think that these kind of raids are futile exercises unless there's an actual conviction, and very few cases reach the end?
Exactly. And then because people see, a raid can't have any deterrent effect if people get to see that every week, every fortnight, every month, right? So, the Lokayukta doesn't come forward and say that what number of people it has secured to manage a conviction over in the last 6 months, 1 year, and they probably are not able to really do much on that front. So these are all very superficial, and I think people are just too smart these days that I don't think they will register any of these aspects at all. By evening, this will no longer be news. People would not want to know who's been raided. People would want to know who's been convicted and sent behind bars. Because all of these things are meant to prepare you for something big. But you never come out and say, what's that big thing that you've done?
But you're saying that right ahead of elections when something like this is carried out, any kind of money that's hoarded, all of that is seized. So that sort of cripples their corrupt activities, if at all they were thinking of indulging in?
Well, that will be by the Election Commission. The Election Commission will intercept someone on the road and will, will inspect the vehicle or some house and they recover some money. But these raids are not that. And the Election Commission apparently is doing a more satisfactory job, because I think they've recovered a couple of crores of rupees in cash, unaccounted, unexplained ones. I think that will have a greater, that will add greater value to conduct of a free and fair election than these aspects.
All right. Great. Thank you very much for those insights, KV Sanjay, our Supreme Court advocate here in Karnataka, very keenly following the elections.